I just need a little Jesus juice.
We all do.
Amen. Amen. Watch this. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello. Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. My name is David James, and we're here with Maryland Maverick, co-host of Bridging the Gap, and great guy, Colin McEvers. Welcome back, Colin.
It's nice to be here. It's wonderful to be here. Hello, Bridging the Gap. This is also a collaborative episode with the Maryland Maverick, of course, which is the podcast for the Maryland College Republicans. Hello, Patriots. My name's Colin McEvers. Welcome back to the Maryland Maverick. Today, we are doing a collaborative episode with Bridging the Gap, my favorite media source on the Wicomico on the Eastern Shore. And, of course, I'm a co-host of this organization as well. So we're here today, and we're going to talk about a lot of wonderful things. I'll give it over to our wonderful, wonderful guest, Pax Garcia.
And co-host here on Bridging the Gap. Pax?
Yes, my name is Pax Garcia. It's an honor to be here with my friends, David James, of course, Colin McEvers. I am the Vice President of the Turning Point USA chapter at Salisbury University, a good friend of Colin here, good friend of David James. I really appreciate them bringing me on.
Yes. And this is exciting because, as you said, we have simulcasts going on right here in Maryland Maverick. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there over at Maryland Maverick.
So we started up our podcast for the Maryland Maverick, which is, of course, the official podcast of the Maryland College Republicans. That was shortly after I became the chairman. And so we started probably back in early September. And so we've done a lot of episodes about different things, ranging from 287G, immigration, all these different things. When we had our debate with Joe Venosa, we broadcasted on there. Pax, of course, was the moderator for that.
Yeah, good job, too. Great.
Thank you.
We really clashed, and we had a great back and forth. Of course, Joe Venosa doesn't like to consider it a clash, but it was a clash. And it's good to have these discussions and these debates. So it was incredible. And, of course, now that I'm back in Salisbury and Wicomico, I have more time to focus on doing these episodes with you and with the Maryland Maverick and doing episodes on a weekly basis. So in that sense, I am glad that the election season for this year at least has concluded.
Yeah, at least for this year, but it's about to start cranking up on the county and the state, and actually even some, I think some national seats may be coming up here soon. Now, you were mentioning, the campaign trail. I know you've been everywhere, and not only do you do things here in Salisbury and with the campus with TPUSA and other things, but you were also on the statewide. So how's everything going with that?
Yeah. So again, I'm the chairman of the Maryland College Republicans, and we have a really great team. We're really making it stronger and more effective. And as part of that, I find it a responsibility to help out campaigns in different parts of Maryland. And I actually got contacted by somebody who was involved with the Annapolis Republican Central Committee, and she asked me to help out with Bobby O'Shea's campaign. He was running for mayor in Annapolis. And so it was an incredible experience. It was a month-long process. We were really doing like a sprint. We were knocking on a lot of doors. I knocked on probably about 1,000 or so in the month-long period. I was going back and forth between Annapolis and Salisbury. So it was a lot of driving. It was very, very busy. That's why I've been pretty distant. And, a lot of hard work. And again, we ended up getting pretty whooped, pretty crushed in the election. It was, for the in-person voting, it was on Election Day, and I was out there sign waving for 12 hours. It ended up being 1,700 votes for Bobby O'Shea and about 4,200 for Jared Littman. So, of course, it was a difficult experience. We had a, after party afterwards, looking at the results and seeing as the election results around the country came in, and Republicans, across the line were basically being pummeled. And it's unfortunate. I wouldn't say it was an incredible shock in the same way that like the blue wave in 2022 was, but it was, it kind of expected because currently the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and also the presidency, the White House. And in these off-year elections, Republicans they don't really vote that much, unfortunately. They don't vote in these off-year elections too frequently, if you just look at the stats. And so, in addition to the government shutdown, which has been branded as Democrats, of course the Democrats are responsible, this government shutdown has been blamed on the Trump administration and the Republican Congress. So, of course, a lot of Democrats ended up going out and voting against the national problems without actually thinking about the local issues.
I see what
they
you're
voted
saying.
against Trump.
Yeah.
They voted against the Republican Congress.
Yeah.
And we saw massive losses across the board, unfortunately.
Wow. But one thing we can say in this political realm is things do go up and down as far as who's winning and who's got the seats, but your passion hasn't decreased, and that's what's awesome. I mean, you're just going to build for the next time. Pax made a comment earlier about being the vice president, TPUSA for the campus. Are you affiliated with that as well?
Yeah, and actually, and let me just clarify so that if anybody's watching
Sure.
that's part of the administration, my campus administration, I'm just going to clarify that it is not officially affiliated with Salisbury University. That will come next semester, but it is
Awesome.
an official
Okay.
chapter, and it is
It's already
chartered
in the
with.
heart.
It's chartered with TPUSA National USA.
Nice,
So it is
nice.
an actual organization. And speaking of TPUSA, the reason we started up in the first place is because of the national outcry over Charlie Kirk's assassination,
Yeah.
and the response afterwards. All the people that were basically cheering his death and celebrating his assassination, mostly far-left liberals. And Charlie Kirk, he was a podcaster. He was a conservative podcaster. He wasn't some kind of national politician.
Right.
By them celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, really, we need to think they would be celebrating our deaths as well, as people who are conservatives, who are Republicans, who express our opinions and our views. And what really shocked me about the election results, I was surprised about this guy, Jay Jones, in Virginia, who won the Attorney General seat after his text messages openly expressing a
that's
desire to
everywhere,
kill
too.
Republicans. I mean, it was terrible,
That's
and he
scary.
won the election.
Scary. What they're wow. I mean, how does that person get elected if everybody knows that?
I don't know. I guess Democrats didn't really care, and he did not step down. Now, if he were a Republican and he were, making edgy comments or something, they'd probably make him step down. It's incredibly insane how much
Wow.
infighting currently exists in the Republican Party. I mean, the Democrats are electing people who openly fantasize about us and our children dying, and they are electing these people, whereas we're infighting because, say, Tucker Carlson brought on someone they don't like for a podcast interview.
Right.
I mean,
right.
it's insane. I think we
Pettiness.
need to stop the infighting. We need to stop going after our own people. I remember, you probably remember this, and you do too, a couple weeks ago when this Politico article, this smear piece, was basically released about all these Republican group chats. And a bunch of Republicans, ended up, disowning and
I think
distancing
I did hear
themselves.
something about
I
that
think,
also.
I don't think we should be doing that as Republicans at this time, because we need to, unify. We need to stick together, because there are a lot of people on the other side who literally want us dead. So we need to be unified in fighting against that. So I don't think we should have so much infighting in the Republican Party. I'm not sure if that's going to change anytime soon, but I really think it's important, especially in the context of TPUSA, Charlie Kirk, and these elections that have happened in the past, couple days.
Pax, what do you think?
I totally agree. I think that especially with that Politico article that we saw, where a lot of younger Republicans were punished for the things that they were saying in a group chat, and what they were saying oftentimes or all of the time were just jokes, people joking around, people talking privately amongst themselves in a group chat. And then you get somebody who's upset when they're not given a position, a political position among their peers in a younger Republican group, who then leaks the group chat. And of course, this is in the times we're in now, as Colin said, the left wants us dead. We saw it after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. We all saw it on TikTok. We saw it on Instagram. People posting videos of themselves celebrating the death, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then people also dressing up for Halloween. Halloween just happened. There were people dressing up as Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated. So clearly we have an enemy that is the left, and they want us dead. We have to unite on the right wing and actually stand against the left during this very important time.
All right.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Well, I want to add something here. It's definitely, again, just the minister in me. we're dealing with a spiritual problem. People who just do things like dressing up like Charlie Kirk, and just some of the mean things that are coming out. And I was just talking to I was talking to Pax earlier. I made a post on the on my page from the Black Conservative Federation, and I had a person that I've never had a problem with, long until she found out I was a Republican. And then all of a sudden, I started getting comments, and you're blaming this person. I never said I'm blaming anybody for anything. I just, but you posted this, okay? It's just really getting scary right now, where people are really just going crazy. I mean, that was small, but there are bigger scales of this. And I mean, I understand how you're saying it's a left versus a right, but there's a lot of just insane thoughts going on right now, and people who are. The Bible tells us that in the last day, you're going to have what's good seen as being bad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And, just seeing you guys out there, and you did a lot of door knocking. You did a lot. You put a lot of miles on your brand new vehicle. Keep going, because you're young at this, and as you're watching this craziness happen, guess what? Your time's coming again. So just keep pushing what's right. And, and the unfortunate thing that happened with Brother Kirk something good came out of it, because before that, I had met you before that, but I didn't meet you. Mm-hmm. So now, here we are now making a difference together. Wow. Now, you mentioned something about a debate. You got some debates going on? Did you have a debate?
Yes, actually, I've been really stepping into the world of debate lately.
Talk to me.
I've never really done debates before, but my first political debate was between myself and Joe Venosa, who I know you're familiar with and you've met as well. Mm-hmm. We had a debate. He's a liberal professor, and he might say, "Oh, I'm not a liberal, I'm not a leftist, whatever." It's like, let's get rid of these labels. Labels are important sometimes, and he is a liberal, and I think he'd admit that as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's a liberal. I'm a pretty right-leaning Republican. There's nothing wrong with labels. But yeah, it was a good debate. It was a good-natured debate. We had a discussion about 287G, and my position was that law and order is essential in a society, in a functioning society. We need to enforce laws in this country, and we need to look out for our American citizens. We cannot be compassionate and let in a bunch of people from different countries illegally, because that not only affects American citizens who were born here naturally, who need government resources, or who just don't want to see the quality of their life plummet. It's also a really terrible disservice that we're doing to legal immigrants who have came here the right way, who have come through the door the right way, and people that are actually trying to become legal immigrants. We're letting people cut in line, and that was my main position. Of course, a lot of the people there that came out for the debate to watch it were liberals, and they didn't necessarily agree with me, but at the end of the day, they were there, they listened, and they were politically involved in that way, and I think that's incredible. Of course, there were disagreements, but there was no violence, there was no safety concern of any kind.
A lot of prayers on your head, though, also. We pray.
Wonderful. Thank you. And of course, it was, we actually talked a little bit about morality and Christian values in the context of it, of illegal immigration itself. And there were a lot of different topics that we covered. And Pax, what did you think about the debate? Because, of course, you were the moderator for it.
Yes, I thought it was excellent. I thought you and Joe both did a great job, and I thought that a lot of the people that came out were left-leaning, but there were no issues. There were no counter-protests of any kind. A lot of the people said afterwards that it was a really great debate, and they look forward to seeing more, actually. They look forward to seeing us do a debate in the auditorium maybe next time on campus. A lot of positive feedback. And I thought as the moderator that it went extremely well. Joe Venosa and Colin, they did not interrupt each other. I really didn't even have to do that much moderation, to be honest with you.
Huh?
Right. I really didn't. And
good.
I didn't know what to expect going into it, if there was going to be a lot of interruptions or anything of the sort, but there really were not. And so I thought it was a very informative debate, one that was not, for such a topic that you would think would be so sensational. Of course, it did generate a lot of hype, a lot of buzz there on campus. In spite of that, it was very straightforward and it was very informative in spite of it being such a sensational topic for so many students and so many people in Wicomico.
And just to add, we didn't expect so many people to show up. I mean, there were over 100 people, both mostly students, but there were also some people in the community who ended up coming out. And we had no idea that so many people were going to be there. We had a room reserved, or at least we thought we had a room reserved, but apparently there was a technical difficulty. Even if we did have one reserved, we would have had to do it in the way that we did, in a haphazard way, because it was just so many people. There was a surge of students who wanted to come out, and that's really never happened in SU history since I've been there. So it was good in that sense, but at the same time, now I'm facing some struggles and some pushback. I've heard some rumors that I had a little meeting that I won't really go into for legal purposes, but at the same time, I'm hearing rumors that there might be some additional sanctions or additional punishments levied out to me. And I just want to say on the record that if that happens and there are some major punishments divvied out to me for having an intellectual conversation with someone and inspiring political discussion on campus, and of course there were mistakes along the way, but for such to be punished in a way that legitimately affects my life, I think would be a really, really bad thing. And I definitely will fight if it means damaging the college Republicans on campus. If the punishment that they're going to levy out or distribute or whatever, if the rumors I'm hearing are true, then there will be a fight and there will be media attention and there will be political activism. I'm totally willing to do all those things because I'm standing on principles, and I'm not going to back down in the face of some kind of powerful entity. And I don't think that's something that anyone should do. We should all stand on our principles. We should stand on what's right. And I don't think it'd be right to, force someone to go into hiding or force someone to be punished for really doing nothing wrong. So
I'm going to say my quote once again. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So just keep going. Keep standing for what's right, and know that. See, and I'm gonna use Bible, a little Bible verse with it. The weapons may form, but they won't prosper. They're going to form. The weapons formed against these shall not prosper, but they're going to form. So just get ready for them to form, but just keep going. Focus. Your focus, both of your focus is awesome. I want to say this before we close out. That we are going to be doing an executive decision coming up. There's a lot of really important decisions. It's great having Colin back around. Again, I admire you for everything you've been doing out there on the campaign trail, what you've been doing with the college Republicans, the Maryland Young Republicans, Lower Shore. You got 4 belts now. We know that. I mean, I'm inspired by that. But we're going to be doing the executive decision, and PAX also is going to be there with us. And I'm looking to really talk about some very important things like 287G. We know something happened at the council meeting, and the executive had made a decision. I'm actually going to show the clip here on this. She made a decision because of the fact of there's been things changed on the national level, on the state level. You know what I mean? They call it an audible on the state level. So we're going to be talking about that. Does anybody?
Yeah, and I want to touch on it a little bit too, actually.
Yeah, please do.
So one of the main things and components of the debate that we had a couple weeks ago, it was about 287G and why we should implement 287G, the program that they wanted to do, the warrant service model in Wicomico County. First of all, it's not something really radical. And I've mentioned this on the Maryland Maverick many times. It's a very vanilla version of the actual 287G. It's not gearing up sheriff's deputies in ICE uniforms, sending them out to round up a bunch of illegal aliens that are living here committing a crime every single day by being in this country and basically using up the government services that American citizens need. So the argument was we should have it. And of course, Julie Giordano wanted to implement the 287G program in Wicomico County. But now there's been this state overreach, which is really, really frustrating, honestly. Anthony Brown, who's the Attorney General for the state of Maryland, has sent out a memo, from what I understand, which has ordered counties not to implement the 287G program. It is overriding and kind of discarding the rights and the abilities and the responsibilities of counties and localities.
It really is.
And
it's an overreach.
It is an overreach, and it's doing a disservice to our communities, because our community in Wicomico, despite all the Haitian immigrants who came out and ACLU members who came out and detested it or whatever, denounced it, a lot of community members want to feel safe in Wicomico County. They don't want to be living on the same ground as people who are here illegally, who have committed a crime, who are breaking law every single day. And it's really important, and now we're basically unable to do anything. It's
on hold.
It's on hold until spring, but after the legislative session, they're probably going to... Westmore and the Maryland Democratic supermajority is likely going to basically strip more rights away from counties and local governments and say, actually, 287G programs can't even be implemented, even in the places that they currently are. That's actually on the table. That's probably going to be coming around in 2026. We'll ask about that and see if that's a possibility.
Here's my question.
It's a possibility because Westmore wants to use this as political red meat against Trump, and he wants to be seen as the person who's fighting against the Trump administration, fighting against ICE, fighting against this boogeyman that ICE has been made out to be. And it's sick because they are putting illegal immigrants over American and Maryland citizens. It should be Maryland first. It should be America first, but it's not, because they are giving handouts and they are not, allowing counties to collaborate with ICE to deport these people, because they should be deported. It's obvious they should be deported because they're here illegally.
Now my question is, and he's very passionate.
That's good.
I agree with you. My question is despite what the governor does, there's going to be a time when the federal government's going to step in. Now, I made this comment at the last council meeting, not this one, but the one before, is anybody talking about what happens next? Because here we are, we're here at the next part, because I'm pretty sure that there's no communication, or really bad communication, going on between the federal government and Westmore. So, but there are counties that have executives and people who are running that, whoever it be, what they call it right now, in those counties they don't have executives, that are friends with the Trump administration. So what happens next? We've seen what happened in California, where you had just the mayors and the different places that stood against ICE, and they came in anyway. So, like you said, with this 287G, from what I researched and saw on that, number one, I think that the correctional officers actually got a little bit of a bonus for actually doing this. So I know I've got a couple of family members, I can't name their names, so I wouldn't mind having a little extra money during Christmas for just doing their job. But anyway, so what happens next is before, if they had done this, please correct me if I'm wrong, the correctional facilities would tell ICE that, hey, they're on your watch. They had to be on the watch. But once they only held them for 48 hours.
Yes, basically, and that's just like an extra step in making sure that illegal immigrants are not let back onto the streets,
right,
and are basically skipped by the system, and they're processed, that they're kept in jail longer for breaking the law, which is being here in America. Now, in regards to the federal government, what they can still do, they can still send in ICE and do these raids and do mass deportations, but there won't be collaboration from the county government.
It's going to be more aggressive. It's going to be more aggressive.
Well, it might be less efficient because there's not there's not assistance from these county governments who know the area better.
Sure.
So there should be that